Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course. I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
No, we're not talking about that.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about another hot mess.
Unless it comes up. This is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. Levi here, Jordan there. What's up?
Hey,
how you doing, buddy?
And you can see us, so we really are.
You can't see me because
I'm
I'm so blurry in this camera.
Well, yeah. Your camera's a trooper.
If anyone gives a fuck and is actually watching the video, I'm gonna get a different camera next time. It's still not focusing back. Anyway, so today we're talking this month. I mean, we're getting a little loosey goosey with our format and how we do genres. And I think as we go forward, it's like they'll kind of be a little bit more freeform. But this month we're kind of going cerebral is the vibe, like kind of mind-fucky movies, a little bit of things that make you think, leave you scratching a little bit at the end, which obviously I've always known I've liked movies like that. But watching this movie, I was like, yeah. So the first movie we're watching...
I love a movie that makes you have to like do homework when you when you're done.
So this is Mulholland Drive. And I love a movie that makes you, like, I really appreciate a really simple movie that's just told extremely effectively and well. Like, just simple. But I really love a movie that's just, like, you really have to, like, and I know this sounds pretentious. When I said it to my wife, she said I was sounding like a douchebag. But I was like, I like a movie that, like, forces you to engage with it. Like, you know, and it's, like, it forces you to, like, participate and, like, you have to dissect it a little bit. It's like a puzzle. Almost.
Well, I appreciate it when it's truly a movie like that. It's not just a colossal failure. It's a movie that like has its production and its like legacy is, you know, your interpretation.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's
movies
basically like choose your own adventure.
I realize, a lot of movies, we've talked about this before, where it's just like some people just really have a hard time with movies that are not like literal. Like this is what's happening in front of your face and that this is a realistic story. But it's like this movie, especially Mulholland Drive and David Lynch is kind of one of the masters of this, of like making something that's just like, oh yeah, you know, it's like nothing really exactly means that, but also there's no correct answer to what it means. Because he even says in some of his interviews and some of his movies, he's like, yeah, it's up for you to figure it out. It's up for total interpretation. And it's like, he's like, I know what I get out of it, but...
Yeah. This movie especially. Before we dive into a little history, do you want to give a synopsis for the kind folks at home?
Let me just say this, though. Let me preface this. This movie was fucking impossible to write a synopsis for.
Yeah. No.
I mean, I got the plot down, I think. So here is the basic plot synopsis so you can follow along with what the fuck we're saying with this movie. So Mulholland Drive follows Betty, a bright-eyed young woman who moves to Hollywood to take a shot at becoming an actress. Meanwhile, another young woman by the name of Rita is in a terrible car accident but manages to escape with her life, but not her memory. Betty stays at her aunt's cheery home and finds Rita there, hiding out. After a bit, Betty and Rita become friends and try the best that they can to find out what happened to Rita and help her regain her identity. In another part of Tinseltown, Adam, an up-and-coming hotshot director, is having a hard time casting his new movie. He soon finds out that there is a shady conspiracy behind the scenes of the Hollywood elite, and he must cast the actress they want or suffer the consequences. Good mug. Betty tries out for a role, blowing everyone but the director away. Thinking she's right for Adam's new project, an agent introduces the two, but alas, the role already belongs to someone else. All the while, Betty and Rita fall in love, discovering piece by piece the secret to Rita's past. I don't know how to spell apparently. While tracking down a woman called Diane, they discover her corpse rotting away in an apartment. They find a mysterious blue key that leads them to Club Silencio, where they witness a grief-filled and surreal performance. Once home, they discover a blue box that goes with the key, and they open it. That seems to open the door to the truth in that Betty is actually Diane, and that the cheery, crumbling facade that we have been witnessing is actually her fantasy. In reality, Diane/Betty is a failed actress. Her lover, Rita/Camilla, is actually the leading lady of Adam's new movie, whereas Diane is lucky to get a minor role at Camilla's behest. Eventually, Camilla leaves Diane for Adam, sending Diane into a jealous rage. That being the final straw, Diane hires a hitman to kill Camilla. Wrought with guilt over the decision, Diane spends her days holed up in an apartment, depressingly dreaming about a life where failure is not her fault and her wicked deeds belong to someone else. Once it's too much to bear, Diane ends her life once and for all.
Damn. Okay, dude, you've that's the best. I've read a couple synopsis and I watched some YouTube videos and that's like the best one I've heard so far.
Thanks, dude.
That was great. Like, it totally captures what the movie what the movie is basically beat for beat. But I don't know, this movie's so deep.
It's it's an interesting movie. So you've seen it before, right?
Yes. Yeah. We want to talk. I want to say, last time on the podcast I said oh, this is good. This one's more straightforward. I kind of forgot how not straightforward this was. I thought, because it's I only remember that overarching story where it's she comes to Hollywood and Hollywood chews her up. That's basically all I remember. But then I kind of forgot that there's the mob that's involved somehow, and I thought that I forgot that they switched bodies basically, or well, not bodies, but one person doesn't actually exist, but then they kind of do. I don't know.
She's really, so the first time, yeah, because when you said that, I was I remember this being I don't want to say confusing, but I didn't quite, so this is only my second time watching it in its entirety.
Same, yeah.
First time I watched it, the whole time it was I was trying to put it together and I didn't know the mystery and I didn't know the quote unquote the answers, the reality, basically the third act twist, if you will, which is that the first two acts are essentially fantasy. And there's a lot of hints to that, obviously. And you would argue now, knowing that it's so obvious, knowing the truth, I feel now that I know how it ends. So viewing it a second time was a completely different experience for me, almost, that it was the movie made much more sense, I think, knowing how, because I didn't remember all the very small details. All I remembered was this is basically her dreaming, for lack of a better sense. This is her fantasy, and her life is really all fucked up and in the shits. That's basically what I remembered. And so watching it this time, there's a lot of clues to that, and so it was a lot more easy for me to pick up on things in the movie, breaking down oh, this is her, something's overly bright and cheery, but then there's the weird cuts of the really shaky, blurry camera that's a POV camera of her in bed. There's a couple shots of that, things like that, and there's a lot of hints to dreaming and reality and all that.
When there's a lot of what they actually it's almost tongue in cheek. They'll literally say, "Wow, this is like a dream."
Yeah.
She's, when she first shows up and she's Naomi Watts is "I just feel like I'm in a dream," and you're kind of okay, well, so here we go.
They blast her with the brightest, it looks like a soundstage. Everything is super bright. It looks like a ABC Saturday night sitcom, just super.
Well, you just said the magic words. Do you know the history of this film?
No, I don't know the making really at all.
Let me give you just a quick while you have that.
Lay it on me, bro.
While you have that out in the air, this is not the first time that David Lynch has done something similar, and who knows if it'll be his last. But anyways, so like with Twin Peaks,
Dude, he hasn't made a
that was
movie
gonna-
in like fucking 15 years.
yeah, Inland Empire, right?
Yeah.
It's his last feature,
And that's the only one I haven't seen.
Yeah, me either. I haven't seen it either. But it's like I would love to get his shorts though. He's been
I've seen a few
doing
of his shorts.
projects.
They're good. Yeah.
Oh,
He's
well,
been
that's the
doing.
thing.
He's always doing something. Anyway, sorry.
Every year. Every year
he's got like a
producing
YouTube.
something. So
He's got like a YouTube
the
channel
mother-
where he's just doing random shit. Like
where he's got fucking the weather update.
Yeah.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Every single day. It's like there's like 560 episodes or something.
What's David doing
Anyways.
today? And he's just tinkering with stuff. He's like, I don't know. I just had this thing,
Yeah.
and I wanted to show you.
Well,
or here, I'm going to show you the perfect bowl of quinoa. You know, I've seen that one.
Hey, did you listen to his album? His fucking.
I've listened to
I mean,
some of his music.
Yeah, he's got a few. Yeah, but it's like.
I've seen Dumbland,
Like-
right? So.
Yeah, Dumbland. Dude, Dumbland is like a deep cut, man. That is a weird. It's so weird. He like yells at helicopters.
Yeah,
and shit.
it's a
I love
fucking
Dumbland.
helicopter. Yeah.
Yeah.
what's
Did
that?
we watch that when we lived in LA?
We did,
together?
yeah.
I think we did, right? Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, let's go back.
David Lynch. I feel like there's just a lot to talk about.
Oh, forever, and that's what I mean. That's what I love about him.
Yeah.
You can't not like David Lynch if you like film a little bit deeper than just going for entertainment. You know, I mean,
Cinema
there's
as
no-
an artistic expression, not just as
Right,
like
not just
here's a
an
perfect
activity.
Yeah, or even like here's like I said, a perfect piece of filmmaking that's like expertly made. This is like I said, it's more of a, to lack of a better word, artsy fartsy. You know what I mean, in a way.
Yeah, and it really does. Yeah, there's a lot of it. Almost like to critique David Lynch is very tricky because you want to just dismiss it as being artsy fartsy and dumb, but then you want to like get deeper into the weeds, and then he kind of just says like, yeah, whatever, I just made it.
Yeah,
You know,
he's
kind of
like the
open for
definition of like there is no objective truth to his movies. Like it's all very subjective to the person.
But he does it really well. Like he keeps it together. I mean, this Victoria was bored to hell with this movie, and I was like laughing the whole time because I'm just like, this is not at all what I remember. I swear the pacing was a lot faster.
It's weird, yeah.
Especially
Especially the first hour. So the first hour is like, it's a bit. It feels like 3.
It definitely does, yeah. And that's like a lot of Lynch. But anyways, oh my God, hey, we're getting way off topic. I just want to give a quick little like backstory for this production, and knowing this going in, so I knew about this for this watch. The first time I saw it, I had no idea. So watching it this time with this knowledge, kind of pulled back some layers. It is an ABC pilot that was shot in 1998, and it was an hour and like 30 minutes. And the only place that exists is probably some shady website or something, because all that existed was a VHS screener, like like production screener for studios. And it went to ABC. ABC said it was the most boring thing they've ever watched, so they just tabled it, and like Lynch was just like, whatever, okay, something I made. He wanted to make it a full series. It was going to be very like Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It literally is. It is supposed to be in the same universe as Twin Peaks, and so David Lynch was just kind of like trying to make a sequel to Twin Peaks, basically. But anyhow, it gets tabled, and then that production company, which I can't think of their name right now, whatever the one that, oh my God, whatever the production company is that produced this, said like, hey, we'll give you a couple million and distribute it as a movie. Like, go through, retool it if you'd like, and make it a movie. So an hour and a half of that movie is already filmed, is real. So he he shot basically another hour and filled in some blanks and tried to because the pilot was just supposed to set everything up. And so with this movie, he tried to flush it out and give it he basically tried to put a whole series into one movie. Thus,
he tried to take his whole huge idea that's a whole season worth of scope and edit it down to 2.5 hours essentially.
And yeah, edit it, reshoot.
Edit it in his mind.
If you're watching it,
edit the story.
Right, exactly. Yeah, try to make something out of it you don't really want to make a movie over 3 hours, and he was, trying to keep it compressed to 2.5. But anyways, it's noticeable when you watch this movie. I can tell, like, knowing that and watching it again, to go back, and it's glaring half the time. You can tell when it's been reshot, and it's like the film looks nicer, and it's like everyone kind of seems different, and then you can tell when it's like lower grade. And it's,
interesting. I think that really works for it though, because it's like
it totally does,
because it does really give to the feeling of like, so obviously like an hour and a half of this movie practically is essentially her telling herself these lies, and they're not as concrete as like, oh, we're seeing them on film, but everything is like, it's all very fake. Like, she comes to Hollywood, she's very idealistic. There's this director is he's got this huge Hollywood conspiracy with like I
would love to get more into that, because it's supposed to be the Hollywood elite mafia-esque.
Yeah, well, it's the king of Hollywood or whatever.
Right. And I think it's cool because it's like, it's supposed to be like one hive mind, like, that controls everything, He's the one that's just like, he's got that like cool pencil mustache, and it's always just like, it's always that one guy he uses too that just is very unique looking, and he's always weird. I know, yeah.
It's so blurry. I can't. He really does use that.
And I love how he uses that guy every time, and I love how he's the head of.
But no, it really does make it show out, because it's like, that makes sense, because the scenes, like probably all the stuff they shot second, it was like a lot of the third act, and like a lot of the scenes that are like cut intermittently into it, because they feel different, and they feel kind of grimier too. Like, I can tell like all their stuff, like, Betty and Rita going around Hollywood doing all this stuff, and then Justin Theroux getting involved in this conspiracy where they're like, you have to pick this actress, but it's her just like, oh, it wasn't because I was a good enough actress, it's because they couldn't pick me because this huge conspiracy, and I was an amazing actress. I blew everyone away at this audition, but it just like, the director just didn't get it. He was just like an idiot, and it's like never her fault. You know what I mean? But the two different filming styles, which makes totally sense now that you say that, and it just makes me want to watch it again.
Right. Same. Yeah.
Really kind of show that distinction of like, something's not quite right here. Like, these look different with a purpose, not like, oh, it's just like all over the place. Like, there's a artificiality to the way that some of these scenes look that is by design, obviously, because they are artificial to the film's, its internal logic.
I just want to know why those old people. This is like a little off subject, but like, I'm mad because all the other moving parts
when they're all tiny.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes just as much sense as anything else, but the fact that for the movie we're watching, that's what sucks the whole time. The reason I'm kind of frustrated with this movie, and I would not recommend this film to somebody if I was going to recommend a David Lynch movie, is for the fact that it's just a little broken to me. Like, I really like it, but it's like, why were those old people there in her last moments of life? Like, why were they so impactful? And I understand. So in the movie, a lot of the like conspiracy theories, and like it doesn't, what I love is it doesn't exist. There's no like exact way it's right, but she talks about how like she won a jitterbug contest.
Yeah, like
or
the
whatever,
dancing competition.
doing the swing dance. So that's the beginning, is her winning that competition. She's with the old people. People theorize that they were judges, but I feel like them being judges is a little weird. I feel like the jitterbug contest was real, and that happened in her life, in the actual Diane's
Yeah, that
life.
definitely happened because you can't say anything happened for sure, but because in the third act she does say at a dinner party that I won that contest and it sparked my interest in wanting to be an actress, and so I came to Hollywood.
Right, and that dinner party's like quote unquote reality, and so it's like, so those old people I feel like are are relatives of hers or her parents, and they because the fake version of her, of Betty, when she comes to Hollywood, they're with her, and they like, apparently, she gets off on an airplane, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, so they flew together from Ontario, and like, so they weren't only a plane ride together for like 4 hours, but they got to know each other. And so she really liked him, and she used them as just kind of like that sweet catalyst, because they have that like really just unsettling smile, and like that relationship in the taxi. I love it.
I definitely think
but
they're gone.
Well, I just want to say that's the reason. It's like, so in reality, Diane's like, she like failed those people, and they come back to see her when she kills herself, and that would, that kind of makes some sense. But it's like, I don't know, nothing. I'm kind of frustrated a little bit too, because I like things to be at least open for interpretation, but have more of like a concrete
right, not be just like there just
know.
to be abstract and to a point.
Right.
Which I do think a lot. I definitely took from this that those characters were like representative of like who she used to be, like the naive, idealistic girl that she was, or at least she thought she was when she came to Hollywood. Because it's like they are part of her jitterbug competition and her coming here, and like, so I think they're representative of like her hopes and her dreams, and the fact that at the very end, the vagabond behind the Winkies or whatever, the Denny's essentially, the creepy vagabond guy, he's like essentially, I feel like represents failure and just depression and just dark thoughts, and and so they come from that, like they come out of his bag at the end to come back, and I feel like that's just at the end she's completely overwhelmed by her grief and by who she's become, because they now suddenly this thing that's supposed to be representative of hope and good has stemmed from something that's like evil and dark, and that's what drives her, like I think pushes her over the edge into suicide, is like that it's just like this is not who I am. I don't know. That's kind of what I got from them. But it's hard to say, and it's definitely creepy. I don't know.
Yeah.
The way he does it is just super. Just like I felt overwhelmed at the very end, where it's just like they're just coming at her laughing, and she's just like hysterical. And it's super shocking. And she's just like hysterical, grabs in bed, and then grabs a gun out of the dresser drawer, which the blue box is just sitting in there. I love that. Which blue's got to represent like, death and Silencio, it's Club Silencio,
Sure.
yada yada.
Yeah, I think I don't think it necessarily, people say death. I've heard that, and I appreciate that, and cinematically that would make sense, that theming. But I think it's more just like, I think it's just her mind.
Yeah.
It's just
Clearly.
it's what like,
Well, it's literally like
just holds
Pandora's box, you know what I mean? It's like what gets in there, and what opens it, it's like it's the shell that keeps her fantasy at bay, because it's not like the walls don't come crumbling down fully till they open it up, and with the blue key, which the blue key is representative of her evil deeds.
Well, that's what I love. I love the blue key. I love how she pictures it in her fantasy land as being this like cryptic key. Even the key itself isn't quite a key.
No, it looks it's a cool ass prop.
Yeah, it's a dope ass prop. It's a cool, like, it'd be cool to maybe have a necklace or something with that.
That would
like,
be cool. We should get the fucking keys from Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you should
3D print them, right?
Stuff.
Paint them blue.
Yeah, that'd be dope. But it's it's like even that key is kind of like cryptid. It doesn't make sense, and like even the lock, it's not even that. Even every minor detail in her fantasy is like different, because in reality, in the grime reality of her, like her distress and her violence and like her grieving and her jealousy and her rage, it's like the key is just this like simple, basic like Home Depot key. And I love how that is also convoluted, where you don't like, the key doesn't do anything. The real key, it's just that is actually a true like symbol for the narrative, where it's like the key's there, thus meaning she completed the hit.
Yeah,
whatever the hit was
deed
completed.
the deed is done, and so I think that's like she sealed herself off to wait, and then that was like the thing that like opened it all up, and then send it coming down, and
Yeah, and dude, I want to say real quick, cinematically, that when she kills herself, that is really cool. David Lynch is a good director. Like,
When it
I
just
love how
cuts and
it's
it
like
fills with all the
blast,
smoke.
and then all that smoke, you can like see it, like the smoke pumping in through like a machine. You know, it's totally like, and it's such a cool representation. It's like oh my god, yeah, like it's fake, it's theater, it's very theatrical. Like it's like what the gunpowder and everything, the smoke and like her death. It's really cool.
I remember the first time I saw it because earlier in the movie they find, quote, the woman Diane that they think might be Rita's true identity. They find her
horrifying.
They find her in there and she's like several days starting to decay.
Holy shit, that is so terrifying. I love it.
It's so real and just disgusting looking. But then later it cuts and she's laying in the bed in the exact same position, and it is just when it all starts coming together, and you're just like, oh. And then when she kills herself too, you're just like, ooh, like the bottom drops
and
out.
Her feet, it's so cool when she's like there and the cowboy comes in and he's like, whatever, you did great.
Time to wake up or whatever. It says something weird.
And like, to kind of like, that's like the cowboy and the aunt Ruth or whatever. It's
funny. We just casually bring up the cowboy. It's like if someone hasn't watched this movie, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this movie?"
I know. Yeah, no. This definitely is a movie that it's alienating to listen to this podcast if you have not watched the film. Because and this isn't even a movie you can get crib notes on.
No,
you can't just like
I hope it
read the
intrigues
synopsis,
you
or you can't
to
like,
watch it though. To like, because it is definitely like, I wouldn't say it's like as extreme as something like Holy Mountain or Hodorowski or something, but it's it's Lynch, which is definitely seen as more of a niche in cinema. But I do think it is. If this piques you at all, you should watch it for sure, because it's an interesting piece of art, man. Like, I don't know, like it's I really liked it more this time than my first time.
Yeah. No, I will watch this again for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting too because Lynch does, like, he can blend film and like theater, stage theater so well.
Yeah.
Like even in Blue Velvet when the house is on fire.
Right.
And it's just like it's like there's no, I love how it's like he's frustratingly pretentious, but like he does it so well. It's one of those you can't.
But his movies, they're messy though. Like you said, they're like they're not like this perfect puzzle. Like I was saying, it's nice to like puzzle it together, but like all his movies are puzzles, but they're missing a couple pieces. You know what I mean? Like they're always, and it's like that's kind of by design. I think that's just his mind, I guess. Like he doesn't make this perfect. Like it's not like Inception. He's not like a fucking something where it's just like, and then this means this. He's got a big board with like connecting yarn and shit. He's just like, I don't know. It just definitely feels like more free flow into like his thought process almost in a way.
How I tried to explain it to Victoria yesterday. He makes super, like, basically he'll write 80-page script of just the simplest story you can think of. Your freshman college, screenplay 101, screenwriting 101. He'll write that script and then he goes, okay, so the characters are going to go from, scene A to scene B, and I want them to get there, but I want them to get there in the most abstract, like mind-bending way possible. So he'll take such a simple, I mean, it's pretty basic when it comes to the movie. It's like she comes to Hollywood, she gets kind of like caught up in it. She wants to be successful. She also falls in love. There's a love triangle. Hollywood's a little more over her head, and there are more pieces that move around. And then I personally feel like, I wanted to get into this, I feel like that the Winkies dude, the creepy guy, I think he represents like drug addiction and getting into like party scenes.
Yeah, dude.
It's like,
I can see that's the thing. It's like there's no wrong answer with this.
Right, and that's what's super fun. Yeah, it's like I feel like he is the whatever is the embodiment of like addiction and the lengths that you'll go to like avoid them, but you're always gonna be able to see through the wall. You're always gonna be able to see it just looming out in the parking lot. You know, it'll always be there, and it'll always be toying with your mind. That's why I feel like the blue box is like her mind.
I can see that
because it's like, I mean, you know, it
works for just anyways, like you know, because it's like any type of like addiction, anxiety, depression, whatever. It's just always like it's always there, and it's always behind the place, and it's like you're trying to shut it out and all this stuff, and it's just like rears its ugly head no matter what you do. Yeah, it's weird, man.
I don't know, dude. This movie, like, and that's I could go on and on. I've got a couple fun trivia bits for
lay the trivia on me. What do you got?
One fun thing is the director Adam who takes his golf club and whacks the car. Yeah, Justin Theroux. That's an homage to Jack Nicholson doing that same thing in real life. He destroyed a movie producer's windshield with his golf club.
That's amazing. I could see that too.
And he got all pissed. Yeah,
the cocaine probably had something to do with it.
Oh, dude, yeah,
He's
right.
Just, like,
yeah,
fueled up.
Yeah. Nicholson's been around forever. That I feel like he could get away with that.
That's fun.
And then on like a not so like positive note, I guess, or just on a really fascinating note, and what I love about David Lynch is who he's just always been in the film scene, but he's not like a whatever, like a tentpole movie director. Like, he's never made, even when he got his tentpole movie with Dune, when they gave him his giant ass film, his action movie, he still was like, he fought hard to keep it what he wanted.
Yeah.
And it just like that's the integrity there is pretty dope. And so I always appreciate that. But what
have you seen? Sorry, go. I was gonna say, have you seen Elephant Man?
Well, dude, you know, I have not.
I want to rewatch it because I remember it being like his most normal movie.
Right.
And Anthony Hopkins is really great. Young Anthony Hopkins is really great in it.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've seen like 20 minutes of it. You know, I've seen all the big, you know, like
his big speech.
His big speech. Yeah, exactly. But anyhow, I really want to see it, and it's like Eraserhead's amazing. And that's where I'm like, I honestly would. I recommend people to start out with Eraserhead, even though
I think that's the most abstract one.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, I've heard Inland Empire is probably the most abstract, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But I feel like Eraserhead, that's like, I feel like that's like that's your college kids. That's like your that's like your that's like that's the punk, what I mean. Fucking like, I don't know, like getting into it like young and rowdy, just kind of edgy. This is more of like, oh, it's that, but I've matured, almost. Even but they have different flavors.
This is the most like Hollywood movie he's ever made. I mean, clearly it's like Mulholland Drive, and it's all about film. It's all about what being a director. It's basically like that's what's so great. It's like he's not that transparent, like, or he is that transparent where it just
he feels like, because he's not a huge
the director is him.
Yeah, he's your filmmaker's filmmaker. Like, I feel like you only like him if you make movies or you're really into movies. You know what I mean? Like, nobody, I've never met anyone or even heard of anyone that's just like a casual David Lynch fan. You know what I mean? In a way that's just like, yeah, you know, I like Marvel, and I also really like fucking Eraserhead. Like,
David Lynch. Well, actually, you know what's amazing? Brian, who listens to the podcast and is a fan and like is on the Plex and shit. Yeah, Brian, who's dope. That's actually how we connected. Is he has a corgi, and the corgi's corgi's name is Fargo, which is really cute. Not David Lynch, clearly, but he came in and he had his hair like coiffed, and he looked like David Lynch. And then like I was like, oh dude, I like your hair, look like David Lynch. And he goes, oh fuck yeah. And then like 2 days later, he comes in with a David Lynch t-shirt.
Nice.
So it's like there are people who like David Lynch. Yeah. It's like, he exists. So what's up, Brian? But it just like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. He is a filmmaker's filmmaker. I feel like that's totally, he totally is like, he's from like, you know, he started in the early 80s, and like, so he's just there with like that whole like scene that just was making fucking trippy ass movies, and they didn't have to like conform to anything or like even follow a script. And I feel like Twin Peaks is like his like magnum opus.
See, I need
I love Twin
to.
Peaks so much.
I was about to say I lied when I said I've seen all David Lynch movies except for Inland Empire. I've also not seen Fire Walk with Me because I really want to.
But that doesn't count. That's not a movie, dude. I mean, it's a movie clearly, but it's you wouldn't just be like, oh, I've seen Fire Walk with Me, cool, and they're like, oh, have you seen Twin Peaks? No, never heard of it.
Well, that's the thing. It's I never finished Twin Peaks, so I only watched the first season, I think. So I never finished it. So I'm gonna go back and watch it now. This made me want to watch it. And well, Blue Velvet, like, kind of kickstarted it. I'm like, yeah, man, I should get back into David Lynch. And then we watched this. I'm like, yeah, I really should, because I want to rewatch. I want to rewatch Lost Highway. Really,
dude. Yeah, so on the topic of Lost Highway, real quick, let me just talk. I haven't seen I'm a fake fan because I have not seen Twin Peaks, the 2017, like sequel, I guess, quote unquote, whatever. It's like that continuation.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. Right?
So, oh yeah, I heard it's great, but I heard, and it's like kind of, I heard there was like some production issues and stuff, but I still feel like it was, it's what he intended. So I need to watch it. So anyways, but with Lost Highway, what's really cool and super tragic is this movie, Mulholland Drive, was dedicated to Jennifer like Syme. I think it's like Syam. Syme, yeah, or Syme. Syme. Anyways,
get out of here. I'm trying to pull up Letterboxd and I keep getting these ads and I'm like, get out of here. It's fucking annoying. Don't do this to me, Letterboxd. Yeah. Anyway, it's dedicated to her because why?
Because she was David Lynch's assistant, and she was like up in the scene, hanging out with everybody. She was in Lost Highway, and she straight up got into a car accident and died on impact.
Oh, wow.
And this movie is like, it's kind of who she was. Like, she came to Hollywood. She was all bright-eyed. She was just starting out as an actress. She was David Lynch's assistant, and she was like actually dating Keanu Reeves and
really?
Had a kid with Keanu Reeves.
Oh shit!
And then the kid died stillborn.
I've heard a little bit of that from Keanu Reeves' story. That's interesting.
Yeah, wild, right? Yeah. And so it's like, and then that was all in 2001, and then at the end of 2001, she was at a party at Marilyn Manson's house and went home, tried to drive back to the party apparently, and got into a car accident and like died on impact, dude. She like sideswiped some parked cars and like totally died. And it's so surreal. It's got to be, it's the most personal movie I think that David Lynch has made, but it comes from such an interesting point of view. Like, it comes from, I just wish it could have been the series. I think that's my,
been interesting
my end,
to see how that would have ended out. You know what I mean?
Right. To flush out, like, really flush out characters and, I don't know, get more of a scope. And then, I don't know. And I feel like he would have probably had some, really interesting things to do with around Hollywood. But I feel like this movie it's his like adaptation of Sunset Boulevard.
I can see that.
Do you remember that?
I've not seen. Yeah, I've not seen all of it though. Oh, no, I've seen enough of it, but I haven't seen it in its entirety.
My God,
I know David was giving me a bunch of shit about it, and I actually started watching it when we were doing Noir Month last year, and I never finished it.
Oh my God, dude, it's a great. Well, it kind of starts with the ending. Spoiler alert.
No, I've seen like half of it.
But so you understand the concept, and it's like it's so funny when I was watching a YouTube video and somebody said, "Oh, this has a lot of parallels with Sunset Boulevard," and I was just like, "Oh my God, it literally just is his version of Sunset Boulevard." It's so.
I think
dope.
This is definitely his most successful movie,
which is wild to me. I can drop you the box office. It's
lay it on me. Now's a good time as any. Tell me the money minute.
Yeah, it did really good with Money Minute. It was 15. Well, so that's what's weird. It was originally, the pilot was $8 million to shoot. And then that freaking studio, Sister Studio, I did not look it up because why would I do that? We're a professional.
Oh yeah, this is a professional podcast for
here.
sure.
Yeah. Whatever. A production company came through and helped him out and gave him like another $8 million. So it was around 16 mil for the budget, and then it only grossed 20.3. So it's not like it. It's not like it.
Now it wasn't a blowout, but I feel like it
but
got. I mean, hold on, I'm gonna have to pull it up. While I pull it up, how do you feel about Justin Theroux? I'm surprised he's not more popular because, especially in this, he's such like he's a decent actor, but he's just like so. He's got such a look to him. You think people would be like, yeah, that guy's got he's like conventionally attractive, but he's also got like a certain like old school James Dean style bad boy look that like, you know, obviously David Lynch is obsessed with the 50s and like 50s music and stuff.
Dude, total.
But it's like totally. Justin Theroux, the guy who played Adam, it's like, I'm surprised I don't see him in more stuff. Because if you ever, normally I wouldn't care that much because he really hasn't been in too much. Like, he pops up in a bunch of random things here and there. But have you seen The Leftovers? The show?
No. Oh, is that his? That's like...
Yeah, he's the main character in that show. And even then, that show is kind of underrated, you know?
I wanted to watch that.
You should check it out. I mean, it's kind of...
Yeah, I'm checking
it's
out
sort of frustrating in a lot of ways, but I would still recommend it. I really liked it.
Yeah, it's so weird. He does have, like, a really...
Yeah, I think this is his only movie that's been nominated for an Oscar, is why I was thinking that. It's Mulholland Drive from him.
That's so weird. It's weird because this movie gets so much praise, and I feel like
That's not true, I lied.
It's kind of cool that it gets this much praise for being such a confusing mind trip.
So, I know, right? And it really is. It's but that's the thing. It's like, this is a movie that I think, like, you get it. You get the revelation more or less by the end. But this is a movie that it's like, upon multiple rewatches, it's like, okay, I've gotten a lot out of it. That's why I'm like on the second rewatch, and then I'll definitely rewatch it again another day. Now, especially knowing what you said about the pilot thing. But fun fact, I didn't know this, so I was looking up. So David Lynch has been nominated for 4 Oscars total. And you want to know what they were?
Lay it on.
Best director for 3 of them, and that's it. For the movie. So Mulholland Drive got nominated for best director, nothing else, which is weird. Blue Velvet got nominated for best director, and nothing else, which is weird, because that hardly ever happens. Just best director, and then Elephant Man got nominated for best director and best adapted screenplay. So that's 3 best director nominations, which is it goes to show he's the filmmaker's filmmaker, because it's like he's got such a unique way of taking the written word and making it uniquely film. You know what I mean? Like, there's something, but I mean, obviously he dabbles in all other kinds of arts. I mean, he paints, he does animations, he does fucking everything, but his films are so, you know, iconic and recognizable in his style. Yep, that's right. Cult of Cinema Knowledge, but check it out. It's so, he's got such a thing that it's just like, and it's not like a gimmick, though. It just, I don't know, it's translated in a way. Like, I feel like it is. It's like they take these words and they just, like, filter it through his brain, and it comes out in, like, a really just unique. He just makes unique fucking movies. Like, there's no one that does, like, what David Lynch does. I don't know. For better or worse.
Yeah, I think he just got enough. I think he got enough mainstream recognition that he got to continue doing what he does. I mean, but it goes to show he literally hasn't made a movie for almost 20 years. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, does he really want to make a new movie? What's been holding him back? You know, I almost feel like he kind of just he's not like a director that wants to constantly be in Hollywood. And I think this movie is kind of a critique of Hollywood and, like, his experiences. And I think that Hollywood loves movies about Hollywood.
True. No, I think that's a
almost
big
like,
thing, a part of the reason why
you know.
this was successful the way it was. I feel like his son doesn't have a. Sorry, I gotta look it up now because doesn't he? His son didn't he? Doesn't his son do that movie Surveillance? Sorry,
I'm not sure.
this is engaging radio.
I know. Yeah. Right. I'm mad though because I like wanted to come up with a really insightful and interesting. If you liked this, watch this. And I really couldn't think of a movie. So I would recommend, because bringing it up, and I think a really cool double feature would be watching Sunset Boulevard and then Mulholland Drive.
That actually sounds like a blast.
It would be really fucking
maybe
cool.
one day we'll do a double feature on the Discord or
As a
something,
bonus.
and just do it. And just have a movie night of that. Sorry, Jennifer Lynch. It's his daughter that directed that movie Surveillance. I would recommend that.
What else? What else has she done? I mean, there you go. That's a good. If you like this, watch this.
And then any other David Lynch movie, Lost Highway, I think. I don't know, man, because she's only made 4 movies, and apparently all the other ones are not very good. But Surveillance was good. Did you see that with Bill Pullman?
No.
Fine.
Apparently she directed some episodes of Gossip Girl.
Hell yeah.
So, and she directed some American Horror Story.
That makes sense. All right. Anyway, so
But
what else we got? This is what was your favorite part of this movie? And I wonder if I can guess it.
yeah. I know. Oh, really? What do you think it is?
Is it the diner scene?
Oh, so yeah. I mean it's funny. I don't know. I almost I like the diner scene, but I've seen that scene 5 or 6 times.
I've seen that scene so many times.
But yeah, I've seen it before the movie.
I was obsessed
it pops
with it,
up on Reddit.
and I wanted to remake it because I just like it on its own,
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it that scene. So everybody says that scene is out of nowhere. It totally just. It's so. It is disjointed. Totally, those characters have nothing to do with the story.
That's a David Lynch movie, though, where it's just there's literally vignettes of other things going on. Then there's the bumbling hitman, but it's just her. But it's still trying to justify maybe this hitman is a piece of shit and he didn't succeed in his thing, and then the guys in the diner. It's that's just another. I don't know. It's almost her subconscious. There's just so much talk about dreams. And
I think that I personally like to believe that it is her. She so I don't think that whatever Betty / Diane exists as Betty / or Diane. It's she is everybody. I don't know. It's then that's my super abstract, totally just left field.
Well, every character in it is someone that she's seen, that she's just filling in because it's all her subconscious mind. So it's all her,
And actually, I like to think of this movie as somebody who's not very good at writing movies is writing this movie, and it's playing as they're writing it. Because because it'll jump around from certain things, and then there's times where it gets super fucking meta. So when you first meet the hitman and he messes up, he kills the dude, shoots the woman through the wall, kills the janitor, all that actually hilarious.
So
the editing
good.
and the acting and the timing, so
he
funny.
can be.
And
David Lynch
that's
can
a
be
scene.
super funny, man. I know.
Oh my god!
He shoots the vacuum
it's
and it
hilarious.
explodes and sets off the alarm. It's so good.
Right, and it and just how and the acting in it, how he's just so he's messing everything up, and so it shows his incompetence. But it's almost it's that comedy of errors where it's almost breaking the fourth wall. Movies don't do that. When you shoot somebody through, when you shoot a wall, it doesn't shoot somebody through it and cause this. It's it's really cool. But I feel in that scene, the dude who's got the black book, who he kills, is oh yeah, and there was a car accident, and yeah, it totally hit him head on, and how he explains it, it's almost like, how would he know that? Like, was he reading the papers? Was he part of this conspiracy?
Right. And there's a part when he's talking to a prostitute, and he's like, "What about this missing girl?" Like, it's all her fantasies, all just trying to like justify it. Like, and she got away. You know, it's fine.
Yeah. And that also you could say, like, Betty/Diane actually just, you know, never met any of these people, never went to Hollywood, or never got into any movies, never had any love story, and just was working for that skeezy hitman.
You can almost say that she was just a figment of David Lynch's imagination.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, she's like, the hitman was just writing some fanfic. In his
he's just writing and
like,
just like, yeah, and then Naomi Watts is not even real.
Yeah. Like, so, yeah, it is fun to get, like, you can get really
all
lost
right.
in the weeds.
What is your favorite?
Speaking of which, I forgot what we were talking about. But no, my favorite part is probably the cowboy scene
on the ranch.
On this watch, when you first meet him,
good.
he's so weird, and his dialogue's so cool, and then it makes me mad though, because
it's kind of charming but like threatening at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, and it makes me mad because you don't get to see very much of him.
You really don't.
And I was like, fuck, he's kind of like the log lady from Twin Peaks. Like, he's a character I want so much more of, but like, I feel like if we had too much, it would be dumb. Yeah. But I'm like, I really wanted more.
That's what he gets. He leaves you wanting more of that, but you know, if you got more, it wouldn't be as satisfying.
Yeah. Oh, he was good. I liked his scene. I liked when he says, you know, if you see me twice, you've done bad. You see me once, you've done good. And then, like, we see him 2 more times, and so, you know, I'm like, what is that?
No, it says anyway, you see me twice, you're good. You see me 3 times, you're bad. And then you see him 3 times.
No, was it 3 times? I thought it was 2.
2. Anyway. He says 2 more. But, I don't think he even says the word 3, but 2 more times in addition.
See me 2 more.
I like how
he's
threatening.
Which, okay, so
yeah, he's good.
Right, and then, like, what does that even mean? Like, if you see me, what do you? And then, like, we see him in, like, the dinner scene. And he just walks in the background.
Yeah, he's just there, and it's only because he has that giant fucking Swiss cheese hat or whatever.
Yeah, right. And his, like, super, like, New Mexico jacket. That's just like,
and he doesn't have any eyebrows. Colorful. Like, he's just like this weird pasty dude, no eyebrows.
That's very Lynch. Like, Lynch can do something.
Well, he just make you uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, just I don't know. I think my favorite part is it was the diner scene, because I fucking love that scene so much. It's just such a short, perfect, like, encapsulation of, like, this, like, surreal dream vibe. But other than that, I think that this time around, my other favorite scene was the audition scene, where she goes into the audition and it sets you up where it's like, you think that you're rooting for her, but you're worrying for her because it's so cheery, and like, she's like sort of naive, and it's in such a situation for her to be taken advantage of. And she's like practicing the lines earlier with Rita, and it's like super cheesy. And so you're like, oh shit. So there's like this inherent tension, and then it gets fucking real. And she like takes the dude's hand and like grips it on her butt, and is just like giving us some fucking top-notch acting, and it's like blowing everyone out of the water. And it's just like such a subversion of expectations, I feel like. And the acting is, I think Naomi Watts is incredible in general.
Dude, that scene, I kind of forgot about that scene. Like, I remember it like being skeezy and stuff, but I was like, holy shit, man, she's really
crushing it.
Good.
And it's like super, like, she's trembling, she's up close, she's just like, you know, earlier she's like, I hate you, I hate us both, like, she's hamming it up, and then in this one she's just like super intimate. It's like kind of like sexual, like, tension.
Dude, though, it like got super sexual. I know,
like, and
but she controlled it, dude. She controlled that. Like,
she fucking
that audition
owned
was dope.
it. And then the fact that it was so that's good. I think, again, in her mind, it's perfect, because in her mind she crushed the audition, but the director was just like, nah, you know, don't overdo it. You know, like, the director in her mind is just some bumbling idiot that's half paying attention. So it's a justification of like, it's not me, it's them. You know what I mean? Like, she can't take any accountability for her own actions. But real quick, the other thing that's super fast that I forgot was in there, and I found like particularly haunting this time around, I totally forgot about, is near the end where she's just like masturbating on the couch crying, and she's just like covered in sweat, and it's just the shot of her vision, like POV of like the blur of the tear in her eyes, and it's like jerking.
That editing, dude, that editing was so
it's so
perfect.
uncomfortable, but like I'm watching her and I'm like, it's making me so uncomfortable, but it's just like it just fits to like she just is trying to feel something. She's trying to feel like she's just so deep down her like hole of depression and all that. She's just trying to feel something.
Well, it's like,
and Naomi Watts is
she's
just
masturbating to forget for sure.
100%.
Dude. Yeah.
And who of us have not been there? Am I right?
All right.
But Naomi Watts is absolutely crushing it at that too. Anyway, but I just wanted to point that out because I forgot that was, I forgot that was in this, and I was watching. I was just like, holy shit.
Well, it almost kind of like bums me out that we don't. He does that. So like Lynch will do that. He'll like, it's almost like he could be like a Stanley Kubrick if he just did all of that. Like if he took it straight. Like we were talking about PT before this, PT Anderson, and it's like he kind of does what PT does, where he can like makes some scenes in his movies that are like so strong, and you could just like, he gets so much out of his actors, and I'm like, it's weird that he doesn't do that for the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just like, it's like he doesn't need to. It's not like, I don't know. It's like my perception of a film doesn't have to be perfect every time, and it's not like he needs to keep that throughout the whole thing. I really enjoy all of his movies, and I appreciate what he does. But there's times where I'm like, God, he can get a lot out of his actors. It'd be cool to see that through the whole.
I think like what you said earlier is really a good point, that this movie is inherently broken, and again, for better or for worse, I think it works for it. The narrative and like the vibe he's trying to set most in this movie, but it's not necessarily complete. Like I said, it feels like it's missing some stuff, and like again, I think it's most acceptable giving the type of movie this one is about. Like it's such a inside the psyche of a broken person essentially, but. There is always, you're always wanting something else, like slightly, I think, out of his movies is, I think, like, what you're saying. Like, there's always just something there that doesn't connect and doesn't come full circle that your brain really wants it to. But I think that's just how he works, man. It's just...
I mean, that's, and I that's why I appreciate
it.
It's like,
your brain wants to connect it. It wants everything to be, like, tied up in a package. I'm glad I love my wife, but I'm glad she didn't watch this with me because she would have hated it.
I know, but yeah, Victoria was so bad.
Anyway, do you want to listen to Travis's message?
I'd love to.
Right here.
Hey guys, to me, Mulholland Drive is like a puzzle. You start with the border and everything is going along fine. Then halfway through, you realize some of the pieces are backwards and many pieces are missing.
Yeah, dude.
And when it's all over,
Holy
everyone sees something different. I read that the DVD came with David Lynch's 10 Clues to Unlocking This Thriller, which I think is a wonderful idea to accompany a movie like this. So my question for you two is, have you ever heard of something that goes along with a movie or clues to look for while watching? Thanks.
That's cool. Dude, good comment. God. See, that's exactly... you really summed it up better than we summed it up in the last hour with the puzzle piece. Like, or starting with the border and going into the puzzles. That's great. I'm curious to see, Travis, you should do like a letterbox, and I would like to, since you were watching a lot of the movies with us, I'd like to see follow more people on letterbox so I can kind of get an idea of what they thought of the movies. That said, I feel like there's something that's like, I remember coming with a movie, but I don't remember what it was.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. And it'll blow your mind because it's fucking Memento.
Oh, yeah.
Memento's DVD was like, you could play it backwards.
Yeah, you had to. The DVD, the DVD that I have, it's like all this memory tests, and then you put in the DVD, and in order to get to the movie, you have to like go through and select the test. Like the menu's super like weird, and it's like almost a memory quiz to like get through it.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Hell yeah, dude.
I know.
That's when DVDs used to like actually come with like super cool bonuses. Like, or it's like basically Criterion is kind of where you get all of the heavy like features now from DVDs. Yeah. But back in the day, it was like everybody was making a DVD, and it came with some gimmick, or it came with like more information. It was like you'd get like a documentary.
That's what I miss too,
it,
is like the making of, the deleted scenes,
right.
fucking commentary. Like, I miss that shit. I should go back and like, that's why I want to buy. Like, I am limited about my physical media these days, because there was a time where I just had so many DVDs, because I just, for fun, just go buy like 10 DVDs at FYE. But
the quality is, I don't know. I mean, it's like,
well, no, but now
it isn't the same.
Yeah. Now it's like, you know, I think the last Criterion I bought Slacker on Criterion, but
hell yeah,
Blu-ray.
So good. Thank you, Travis, for commenting. I'm curious what the 10, because I read. I'm not curious what they are. I know what they are, but I'm now with that knowledge, I do want to go back and like kind of have like the blueprint or the
post it on the Reddit for
this.
me, because I remember hearing something about that back in the day, but I totally forgot about it. So he just said something just now. Post the 10 clues on the Reddit for me. I want to see them. God, I feel like there is another movie I'm thinking of where I bought the DVD, and the DVD came with like a poster or something that was like a weird, or it came with like, no, maybe I am thinking of Memento, because Memento had a bunch of notes too. Like, it had a bunch of like files.
Memento is that was like one of the most like,
and that's a Christopher Nolan. That's OG Christopher Nolan
intriguing.
move before he became, you know, Mr. Batman or whatever. I feel like there was another, like, there was like a poster that it was like, oh, there was some weird bonus thing on it or something. But if I remember,
I love the Signal. The Signal DVD comes with, you can just play the Signal infinitely.
Dude, I used to do that.
Yeah,
I used to just play it.
I know, yeah. I remember, when we back in your old place, we would just put it on at night and then like wake up in the morning. Oh,
the Signal's so good.
Signal's playing.
We're the only people on Earth that like the Signal, probably.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. That's
so yeah, is there anything else we're getting to the minute? We said if you liked this, we already did that. We kind of out of order this time, but I think it was natural. We did the money minute.
You got it.
Did the favorite parts. You should watch more David Lynch movies.
Yeah.
Man,
I'm happy with this movie.
Let's find a way in the future to watch Inland Empire, because neither of us have seen it, and I'm sure we'd enjoy it. So
it'd be cool. Yeah, maybe we'll do a bonus like first watch. We can do like a watch it together on Discord.
Oh yeah, something like that. That'd be fun.
Talk through it or something. But yeah.
I just wanted to add. Last time, I said that I'd come back with who my favorite. This is just a.
Oh right. Who you think would be a good?
I was trying to think of a young
day
actor, and I think my favorite young actor that, well, and I say young, that's our age. I'm like, has to be someone that's like 30 or under.
They could pass for like 26.
Dev Patel, I think would be great.
Oh, dude!
I think he'd do a really good job, and he's our age, which makes me sad because he's so successful. And we're getting.
He would hella. Oh, dude, we're hella successful. Speaking of success, our Patreon has got new merch coming up.
Yeah,
look for it tomorrow.
I know we actually have. Thank you to the few people that are on our Patreon. There's a couple more now, so you guys are the best.
Oh yeah, and then Kylie Landon, you got your stickers in the mail. Coming at you.
I know. I want some stickers.
Oh yeah, I guess we're supposed to. Oh shit, we need to get more on board. I need to write that down. We got to shout out our Kylie Landon, our Patreon, and does your mom want us to shout?
I mean, we shout her out all the time.
We get hella. I mean, yeah, Gloria's cool, and Cindy Howard, she's dope. That's my mom.
Yeah, I don't know if my mom listens to it that much anymore. I think she just puts it on the background and it's like, oh, that's those boys talking, you know, like, she doesn't actually listen to it though. I kind of want to now get some blind views of like regular people and just get their first reaction, just make them watch Mulholland Drive. Like, I would want to like force my mom to watch Mulholland Drive and just like make her pay attention and see what her reaction would be.
I'm gonna search like reaction YouTube.
I guarantee you most people are like, oh, I hated that.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, like Victoria and
unless it's already your thing. Actually, that's why I'm like, unless it's, but I feel like there's definitely a handful of people that are like, wow, I didn't know movie, like if they're not used to that kind of stuff, they're like, huh, that was interesting, and I didn't know movies could do that. Like, you get to go down that road.
I love it. I love movies that are. This movie, it just wasn't as strong as other movies that like. I love a movie when it like Silence. I always come back to that because that's one of the greatest movies that's like it's so slow and boring, but it's so good. I don't know, and I'm probably just misremembering and making it epic in my head, making it like one of the coolest movies. But I just remember it. It like doesn't really do that much, but it has such a huge like presence. And this film does that, but it's so broken. I don't know. It's weird. It's like movies are great though because you can have different experiences. And with this movie, it is cool because David Lynch was like, I don't know, man, just make it up.
Yep.
You know, he's like every single person gets their own interpretation, and I'm like, that's cool.
Good.
I appreciate.
All right, thanks for listening. Go to the Reddit. The next movie we're watching next week is gonna be Brazil.
Hell yeah! I'm so excited. Brazil's such a good movie.
I watched Brazil around the same time I watched Mulholland Drive, and I really loved it. But I haven't seen Brazil.
I guess that's true. Me too.
I think I've seen it like twice, but I haven't seen it in like 10 years. But I remember being like, "God, that movie's good." That's another weird movie. I think Terry Gilliam's another guy that's in the same kind of vein, especially. But he's had a little bit more mainstream success with being like comedian, or being like with like Monty Python and stuff. But we'll talk about that next week. So Brazil next week. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. We're gonna go onto the Reddit. Leave us your comments, your thoughts, and we'll read them because today, if you notice, we didn't read any Reddit comments because there's not a single Reddit comment on Mulholland Drive. But I got a handful of upvotes, so I hope those people would comment. But I can't talk shit because I didn't comment either. Because I suck too. But maybe I'll go back and comment. But I just save my comments for my words coming out of my mouth now. So. All right, thanks for listening. Instagram, Reddit, fucking
bye everybody.
The streets. I don't know.
Yeah, scream it off your rooftops.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.